All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So there's a lot going on today, right? A lot happening, a lot of cool things going down. And first and foremost, Joe Douglas met with the media, and we're going to talk about the practice squad in a minute. Funny enough, originally I wanted to do that video late last night, but no more moves were made. So I wanted to, really sit down and wait until the Jets officially released the rest of the players that made the practice squad here. But let's dive into these Joe Douglas comments first. Now, granted, there was a lot of coach speak and whatnot. There's kind of a common trend with Joe Douglas. He's never going to, come out and make like crazy headlines or make any sort of guarantees or anything like that. Never put anybody on blast, but he did say that he's really excited about the team. He's excited about Aaron Rodgers, alluded to him, from a physical standpoint, just ability to still throw the football. In fact, he actually had a funny quote where he said that he still cannot believe that Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. And just really addressed all of the hype, all of the expectations, the excitement surrounding this team, where this team can go in 2023. And I felt like actually my favorite moment of the entire press conference, and of course I'll leave it linked down below in the description box if you want to check it out, but he kind of put I don't want to say he lowered them, but he kind of put a damper on it, right? He talked about the Buffalo Bills being 3-time AFC East champions, right, in the past 3 seasons. He talked about how, yes, it's awesome that the Jets made all these moves and everybody's really excited, but it doesn't really mean much if we're not out there executing, right? If we're not out there winning games, then it doesn't really mean much. And I just loved how he kind of didn't throw fuel onto the Jets' fire, right? He kind of, again, I don't want to say lower expectations, but I like the realistic approach, kind of bringing everybody back down to reality and saying, hey, hold on a second. We got the Buffalo Bills coming into our building, a great football team. We got to focus. We have to be ready to play this squad. Just because we made all these offseason acquisitions doesn't mean that the NFL is just going to give us free wins, right? We have to go out there and get the job done. When talking about some of the players on the roster, like the defensive line, he said that they're junkyard dogs. He said he was extremely excited for Mekhi Becton and found it awesome how he went out there and won the job, kind of reminding him of his rookie season in a sense. But in regards to the season's expectations, he pretty much said that, it's everybody's choice on what they want to believe. They know what's going on in their building, but they're not running from the Super Bowl dream, if you will, right? All of the pressure that everybody's putting on the team because of the offseason acquisitions. Again, Douglas said he's not running from it. They're not scared of it. And this goes, top down here, trickle down effect. Nobody in the building is feeling overwhelmed or anything like that. So it was really cool to finally hear from JD. Obviously, the general manager never really speaks to the media all that often. And the Jets are having a practice today, getting ready for the Buffalo Bills. I cannot believe that the season's already here, but let's dive into this practice squad. Of course, we talked about, I want to say half of the practice squad yesterday, right, where they brought in a couple of new acquisitions, Valladay, Tyreque Jones, and some obvious choices too, like Trey Dean, Zack Kuntz, Boyle, Sam Eguavoen. But we do have some more information. We do have some more players making this squad. So let's start first with Craig James, right? Obviously, he was in Philadelphia with Joe Douglas. 27 years old, plays the cornerback position, and this is somebody who I remember when the Jets first brought him in, it was off of the Eagles squad, and he was actually, I believe, on the practice squad all of last year for the Jets. He's a core special teamer and somebody that Joe Douglas knows pretty much through and through. So big fan of Craig James. Next up, defensive lineman, fan favorite Tanzel Smart. I think Smart arguably could have made this football team, right? I do a weekly podcast with Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio, and not only was he just rooting for Smart to make the squad, but he was pretty confident that Smart would have made the 53-man roster. I think, interestingly enough, the reason why Smart didn't make the roster is because the defensive line is so damn good, right? We just have pass rushers, we have run stoppers, we have young players, we have veterans, we have high upsides, we have high floors. This defensive line right now has so many things, realistically speaking, it's almost mind-blowing. So in a sense, it's not like Smart didn't make the team because he wasn't good enough or he wasn't talented enough or he doesn't fit the system or anything like that. It's just because the defensive line is that much this talented. Okay, so next up is defensive lineman Marquise Spencer, and if my memory serves me correctly, I believe he actually signed with the Jets back in November of 2022. So, he's been with the Jets for a little bit now. I do think that gives him obviously the edge, knowing the system, knowing the personnel, knowing the coaching staff. Former 7th round pick made by the Denver Broncos and out of Mississippi State, right? I absolutely love Mississippi State's defense, just how they play, the aggression with how they play. They're not the best defense in college football. They're not the best defense in the SEC, but if you watch a Bulldogs game, right, this season, last season, future seasons, the defense plays with a certain edge to them. And Spencer has it. I love it. And by the way, Marquise Spencer has great size. He's like 6'4", 300 pounds. Love the move. Okay, so next up, offensive lineman, offensive tackle Ryan Swoboda, former member of the Virginia Cavaliers, and then bounces over to UCF and plays 3 straight seasons for them. Insane size at 6'9", 315 pounds. He was originally on the Lions practice squad, and they wanted him back, but obviously stuck with the Jets. Former basketball player, super athletic. That's the one thing that people keep talking about when, talking about his playing style and really what he can bring to a team. Sticking with the offensive line here, Jason Poe, former San Francisco 49er. At 25 years old, he's a 6'1" guard, super strong. I actually read a headline in regards to Poe being, I think it was like he was the second strongest player on the 49ers, which is just really cool, just in and of itself. But no, Jason Poe obviously fits the system, coming over from San Francisco, spent all of last season on the 49ers practice squad, and he's also worked a little bit at center too. So you can maybe make an argument in the in the war room, if you will, in the coaches meetings, that hey, hold on a sec, instead of just looking at Poe as, a one-dimensional guard, maybe we can try him at center. So I like the addition to the practice squad for sure. Okay, so next up is one of the more interesting players that made the Jets practice squad, in my opinion. It's defensive end Jalyn Holmes. Former 4th round pick out of Ohio State. He's bounced around, right? Vikings, Saints, Giants. But overall, Holmes, again, former 4th round pick back in 2018 from Ohio State. He's seen NFL action before. He's gotten into regular season games. He's 6'5", 280, 285. So he does have really nice size. Yes, of course, the Jets defensive line is deep, but it's always good to have, experience, relative experience, right? Considering with, we're looking at the practice squad here. It's always good to have those guys just in waiting, right? Where they can practice with the team, they can pick up and understand the system. Because in the event that, Carl Lawson gets hurt again, in the event that somebody goes down with an injury, it's not like the Jets have to panic and, overpay for either somebody on the market or overpay to trade for somebody. I do like the mindset here from Joe Douglas, where, of course, looking at the practice squad from top to bottom, there are young players here, right? There's guys that, might be like, players that just haven't reached their full potential yet. But then there's a few hand-picked ones that look like they might be more higher floor guys, right? And I feel like Holmes kind of checks that box. Okay, and last but not least, Marcelino McCrary-Ball, linebacker, former San Francisco 49er, former Indiana Hoosier. He was undrafted last season, but he wound up on the Niners practice squad. It's somebody who's been a bit of a preseason standout, and also if we go back and look at his college career at Indiana, this is somebody who's appeared in a bunch of games. 5th-year senior here, and also positional versatility, has had some time at defensive back. So I think this was a nice acquisition. Whenever you can get players from teams where the head coach came from, obviously Solid he hasn't coached McCrary-Ball, but it's the same philosophy. It's the same, for the most part, same ideas on what the team wants to do, on offense or defense, just from a schematic sense. Both teams here are looking for the same traits. They're looking for the same skill sets. So whenever you can snag a player off a different practice squad, or, you trade for a player, from a team where that coach was originally at, it's like, okay, it bodes well. You have a feeling, okay, this is why the Jets want to bring so-and-so in. So I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.